Hi everybody, this is a video about the UR22 from Steinberg, and I think it's the first generation, and some of you who own this piece do have issues with humming, and it's somehow connected to activity on the screen and activity coming from the graphics card. In the Steinberg forum there are many people talking about this problem, and I've come across one particular thread. They have been talking about the possibility of solving the humming or noise coming from the speakers by simply splitting up data and power coming from the USB cable going into the UR22. So, to showcase how this solution would look, I sketched up a simple diagram. You will notice the humming or noise specifically when the GPU is under load. So you can test it by opening any game or something like that. The noise then gets louder, will be more present, and will sound a lot more disturbed, especially when you move the mouse around and the GPU has to work. So this now is my modified cable, the first version of it. I'm not totally happy right now, but next I will modify a second cable, and this one will look much better, and I will show this as well. This modified cable, as you can hear, it's completely quiet now, the whole setup, and when I was showing the noise, the volume wasn't even up, so the noise is present even if the volume is completely down. So if I now put the volume up, you can hear everything real nice, no problem at all. Yeah, so just to show you how the cable I've modified first looks, it doesn't look very great. The isolation I've just peeled back, cables I've soldered together, isolated them with the shrinking tube. Yeah, I think it's okay, it does the job, it doesn't look pretty. I used some fairly old cables and I'm not very happy about it. I'm not very happy about the length. So I'm going to use another cable. I will sacrifice another cable. This was just a test if this even works for me in my case. Starting right now, we got one cable. I will use this cable for the power, and the other cable, which I have just used to show you the noise, because this is the unmodified cable. This goes into the UR22 and this goes into the computer. So what we're doing is we cut open the cable, split both data and power to come from different sources. Those ends we will both need. Those we don't need both. We will just need this one. For most of the length, one cable, it's just cleaner, it's my opinion. And 1/3 down, you can do the split because, well, you will need some room between your computer and the power adapter. Okay, starting with the power cable, I will leave most of the length for me. For the power adapter, I will cut this off approximately here Just a little disclaimer, safety is number one priority, as some Russian folks say, and I also think this is true. So I'm using a razor blade. Do this at your own risk, and please be aware of the risks that come with electricity and handling it. For this USB cable, the only lines that are interesting for us are the power lines. Alright, as you can see here now, those two power lines are dismantled. I've cut the data lines to different lengths. I don't think those bear any risk of possibly destroying your home, because I mean it's data, but this is what I feel most secure with. I probably shortened this one a little bit more. So I do not understand much of all this electro-technical stuff. So please feel free to correct anything I said or will say on this video, and write it in the comments so I can learn something, and others don't believe my bullshit. Now to this cable. This cable I will not completely cut in half, but I will rather make an opening so we can just modify the power cable. There's one. And there comes the other. You can use shrink tube, but of course you can also use electrical tape. I'm going to have to manually heat up my soldering iron, unfortunately. Okay, here, so as you can see now, I finally managed to connect those two lines together, just to showcase you once again how this would look right now. This is the part that goes into the UR22. From here comes data from the PC, and as you can see, we bridged the is it even bridging? I don't know. We split data from power, and power is now coming separately from this USB. For me this doesn't look very appealing, so I'm going to produce a little like encasing for it using my 3D printer. If you do not have access to or own a 3D printer yourself, you can still just wrap some electric tape around. One thing that I noticed is that the shield on my newer version, which you've just seen, is still intact. This one is not. I split the whole cable, included the shielding, and this one actually works better. With my newer version, the noise or humming is much more quiet, but it didn't go away until I also cut the shielding on the newer cable, and now it's perfectly fine, just like this prototype. Here we have the finished case for intersection of the cable, and I'm pretty happy with it. I did create some screw holes, but since the missing tolerance makes it snap together real nice, they are not even needed, I think. Let's be honest, the screws are overkill, but I will put them in anyway. This will be very satisfying. Oh yeah. Okay, nice.